Hello and welcome to our Year with the Ears, our daily vlog where we relive our year living in the Walt Disney World resorts in 2019. Today is day 304.
We got up very early this morning here at Wilderness Lodge and headed up to the club level lounge, waiting for breakfast to start. At 7 a.m. they opened up the gate and we went in, grabbed a few pastries and things, and then left and went down to the dock as quickly as we could. We were hoping to catch a boat over to Fort Wilderness, and believe it or not, we were the only ones on that boat for whatever reason.
Shocker.
Can't figure out why no one's going over to Fort Wilderness this early. I know why we're going though. They are having a 5K fun run over at Fort Wilderness today as part of their Halloween celebration. They only do their fun runs on special occasions, certain holidays, and we want to make sure we get to take advantage of it. So we got over to Fort Wilderness and then headed over to the Meadows Trading Post where everyone was meeting up for the run. When we got all signed in and signed the waiver and everything, they explained how it was going to work. Now this is a free run, but there are some real prizes for it for the first, second, and third place people. Neither of us are going to be first, second, or third place, so we didn't really care about that. But what they did explain was that if you want to do the entire 5K, you have to run the entire course twice. It is 2 laps. But if you don't care about doing the full 5K, they actually have activity stops all along the route that you can do. But if you're doing those, you really only have time to do 1 lap. So we decided, Alyssa doesn't like to run anyway, we may as well walk it and do those activities at the different stops. So as soon as they got ready for the race, they fired the gun and everybody started running, and we just took our time walking up to the very first activity stop.
The first activity that they had, all you had to do was answer a few questions. They gave you a little sheet of paper. They were not super hard questions, honestly, and if you have a couple people in your group, it does make it easier. So we answer the questions, and once you turn your paper in, they give you a stamp showing that you did stop and finish that activity. Then we continue going to the next stop. At this location, they had bean bags, and all you had to do was make one in the hole. Robert said that I could do it. It was very sweet because he knows I love playing bean bags. I'm not good at it, I just really enjoy it. So he stood on the other side and continued giving them back to me until I finally made one in so that we could get our second stamp and keep going. The area between stop 2 and 3 was the longest walk that we had, but it was so pretty, especially this early in the morning. We were really enjoying just walking and enjoying the morning. We did make it to stop 3, and this one was probably the easiest one we had. All you had to do was take some pieces of paper that were all cut up into different shapes and put them together to make them look like a normal piece of paper. So we did that and got our third stamp. We then followed the arrow and the cast member to get to the finish line. Once we got to the finish line, we did get a button, and these were super adorable. Absolutely love these. They had a little chip on them. It was super cute. And then we took a picture together because we did finish the activity. And then we went back to the boat and took the boat back over to Wilderness Lodge because we're very tired, but we have a long day ahead. So we got ready for the day and went up to the club level lounge to get a little more breakfast before it was over.
After we had some real breakfast, we did head downstairs, and I had to stop at the pin trading booth. I wanted to see if they had any new Halloween pins. All they had was the ones they had already come out with, including the Halloween Day pin, which I already bought. But they did have a sale today on all Halloween pins that were not limited edition or limited release. And they were all 25% off, which is pretty cool. They don't usually do sales on, well, anything at Disney. So that was kind of cool to see. I don't usually buy non-limited edition pins though, so we just kind of passed on those. Then we headed down to the boat over to Magic Kingdom. When we got there, Alyssa took the other boat over to Grand Floridian, and I went for a walk over to the buses to go to the All-Star Resorts. I took the bus over to All-Star Movies first, and when I got there, I saw they had the sign out for all of their Halloween activities. Took a picture of that sign and then went to see what was going on. They had a really special $5 activity where you could decorate your own bag to use for trick-or-treating, which I thought was really smart for Halloween and also a really inexpensive activity. And like many other resorts, they also had a pumpkin decorating contest for the cast, and they had so many amazing pumpkins here. I loved looking at all of them. I loved the Maleficent and the Stitch pumpkins. Someone did a really good job in creating those. They also had 2 different up in inspired pumpkin displays, and I'm not sure which one I liked better. They both had their own little details that were pretty cool, but my absolute favorite of them was Genie. This was really awesome because he was coming out of the lamp, and they did a really good job mounting this so it didn't look like it was being held up by something. It was pretty cool. Then I walked over to All Star Music to see what they had going on. I found their activity sheet and took a picture of that. I also saw that they had a map displayed because they are having a Pargo parade where they've decorated all these different golf carts. Unfortunately, it's not until 11:30, and I really don't have time to stick around and wait for it, so I just took a picture of the sign. Because they were doing the Pargo parade, that the cast members decorated those, they didn't have a pumpkin decorating contest, which makes sense. So then I walked over to All Star Sports and found their activity schedule, and right next to the activity schedule, they had their own pumpkin decorating contest, and once again, the cast members just are so impressive with the different things they come up with for these pumpkins. There was a really pretty Cocoa pumpkin they had painted, and the Tower of Terror pumpkin was pretty awesome because they stacked two of them up and it had the scene from the elevator. I also liked the Hocus Pocus scene because they put a lot of work into that. There were several pumpkins involved and they had a really big scene set up, but definitely hands down the best display here was the Galaxy's Edge pumpkin display that had DJ Rex, but they made this huge, massive display that was the whole setup of Oga's Cantina. There was card games over on one of the tables. They had helmets on the wall. DJ Rex had his own little DJ booth there. It was really impressive, all the work they put into that. And they hadn't picked the winners yet of this pumpkin decorating contest, but I have a feeling that's probably the one that won because it was just crazy. From there, I went out to the buses and caught a bus over to Animal Kingdom, which is the closest park. And when I got to Animal Kingdom, I waited on a bus over to Animal Kingdom Lodge. When I got there at Jumbo House, I found the sign with all the activities, but they did not have a pumpkin decorating contest. So I took that picture and then I walked over to Kidani Village, only about a 5-minute walk or so. When I got there, they had their own activities set up, but those activities again did not include a pumpkin decorating contest. So after I got the pictures of those signs, I went back on a bus over to Animal Kingdom and took a bus from there back over to Wilderness Lodge.
And while he was on his adventure, I was at Grand Floridian getting a picture of their activities for the day. They did not have any pumpkins, so I took the monorail back to Magic Kingdom so that I could take a bus over to Boardwalk. When I got there, they did have the sign out that said all the activities, so I snapped a picture of that. I know that they have a pumpkin decorating contest, but we did already take pictures and video of that, so I headed over to Yacht and Beach Club. They have these same activities here at Yacht and Beach, so I just took a picture of one of the signs. And after I took that picture, I walked over to Hollywood Studios so that I could catch a bus to Coronado Springs because that was the final resort we had to get. I got there, they did not have a pumpkin decorating contest, but they did have a sign with their activities, a very nice one I might add. So I took that picture and then waited for a bus to Magic Kingdom, and at Magic Kingdom I took a boat over to Wilderness Lodge to meet up with Robert. I did make it there about 15 minutes before lunch was over, so I was really happy I made it so that I could get some lunch because I was very, very hungry.
It was a very convoluted way of getting all of those signs, but when you don't have a car and you don't want to spend, $10 a piece on the Ubers to go between the resorts, it just made sense to do it that way. So we did manage to get every single resort's activities, and we're going to put those together in a blog post. For lunch today, we were really excited to find they had something brand new here at Wilderness Lodge. Normally they have those little ham and cheese pinwheels or some different snacks, but today they had some croissants with ham and cheese that you could build your own croissant. So we were really happy they had some actual substance for lunch. So we essentially had croissant sandwiches for lunch and actually had a decent amount of food.
After we ate and felt better because we've been running around all day, I actually started on that blog post and got it all put together. It was pretty simple because the pictures were very easy to put in there. So I got that blog post ready of everything every resort did in 2019 on Halloween. And we wanted to do this because we thought it'd be helpful for 2020 so people can kind of get an idea of what to prepare for. And honestly, with all the activities that they have at the resorts, you don't have to go to the Halloween party because they have so many different things going on. You get plenty of candy for the kids, which, let's be honest, that's really what they want. You can dress up if you want to. There are so many great things here at the resorts that you don't have to pay extra to go to the park for the Halloween party. We did, but now we know.
I did have a couple calls this afternoon I had to be on, so I took care of those. And then it was dinner time. They brought out all the food up there to the club level lounge. We were very excited to get some dinner before we went out for the rest of our adventures today. They have, of course, the meats and cheeses they always have out there and the different little salads in the jars. They had a soup today that was a black bean soup, like a chicken tortilla black bean kind of thing. It was really good, but they had one of our favorite things. They had the ribs, and so I loaded up on ribs. Alyssa was also excited because they had one of her favorite things, the children's pasta that isn't just for children.
The cast members always laugh at me because I get so excited when there's pasta. Now, I do make this kind of like an adult pasta because I take those chunks of mozzarella, cut them up, and put them in my pasta to make them even better. So the cast members know they got to make sure there's going to be a lot of mozzarella because I'm going to take more of it than the average person here. I take quite a bit of it, put it in my pasta, and it is just so perfect.
I was also very excited because they have just added something new to this club level lounge. They've added root beer to the canned sodas in the fridge, and it's not just any root beer, it is the Blue Sky organic root beer made with real sugar. I really enjoy the Blue Sky sodas. The root beer and the black cherry are my favorites, and I was so happy to see this because normally I'm just drinking the tea or the juice or whatever, but now they have something that I love. So I had to have one of those with my dinner, and then after we finished eating, we cleaned up everything, we went back to the room, we got ready for the Halloween party, changed into our costumes, and then went to explore the different activities here at our resort before we go to the park.
When we got down to the lobby, they had a decorate your own bag. These ones, however, are free, so they're also a lot cheaper, which makes sense, gotta be honest. These were a lot of fun, but also very helpful because we did not realize how many different candy locations they were gonna have just at this resort alone. There were so many, and our plan was to take a picture of all of them. We had not planned on them being so many of them, so we didn't get a picture of all of them, but we went to several of them so that we could snap pictures. The first one was inside the merchandise store, and when we went in there, they actually had an activity as well. They basically had their own version of tic-tac-toe, but instead of X's and O's, they had playing cards to represent Halloween. It was a lot of fun. It was super cute. But we played it really quickly and then went and got candy because that's really why we're here. Then we headed outside to another candy stop. Again, there are so many here, and they had plenty of candy, which was awesome because we were hoping they wouldn't run out. They did not. They told us they had plenty and there was no way they could run out tonight. After we got some candy there, we headed over to the next stop. This one was not a candy stop. This was just a fun little location where they were doing Halloween tattoos. Of course, we had to get some Halloween tattoos because I'm a huge fan of anything like this. They did it for me, but Robert did his own, and they turned out really well and looked so cute. Not all of the activities had begun yet, but we didn't want to wait around for all of them, so we just snapped pictures of the different things they're doing. They had a candy guessing game. If you won that, you did win a big jar of candy, which seemed a little odd because we're getting all this free candy anyway, but it's still a lot of fun. They also had a costume contest, which we thought would be really awesome. We weren't sure if a lot of people would dress up, but as it turned out, a ton of guests did dress up here at the resort. They had just a lot of little games out for kids to play out here, which was great. And they also had a donut eating contest, which was really odd to me for a Halloween thing. Maybe they're Halloween donuts, I don't know. We weren't here for this, so I have no idea. But again, took a picture so that we could record it. And then the final thing, they had a backdrop, which was not ready yet, or we would have snapped a picture, but they even had little props and everything, which this is so much fun. And like I said, they had way more going on than we thought they would. This isn't the biggest holiday of the year, and yet they went all out, and not just here, but the other resorts as well, all the different things they have going on.
Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to stick around for all of them, so before we head to Magic Kingdom, we wanted to run back upstairs to the club level lounge and grab some dessert, and also to put our candy in our room because we got all that candy as we trick-or-treated around. Dropped off our candy, went up for dessert, and of course they had cobbler again tonight. They had the mixed berry cobbler this time, and that is my absolute favorite cobbler, so I got a bowl of that. They had a few other little things like cookies and stuff, but then I saw, for whatever reason, they had some PB&J shooters out for dessert, and I feel like that's okay because it's kind of an anytime snack. I'll eat it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, dessert, whatever. They're really good, so I got a couple of those too. 2 and went over to the lounge to enjoy those. While we sat there enjoying them, we realized the sun was setting and it was just absolutely beautiful off in the distance. So we went out and watched the sunset for just a minute before we headed down to the dock over to Magic Kingdom.
When we got here, we did scan our magic bands and they did not work, so we did have to go wait in line for guest relations. And we think the reason they didn't work is this is the only night that the party pass did not work. You could not use the party pass to get in tonight. You did have to have a separate ticket. We did, but our guess is that the party pass probably messed that up a little bit. So they did give us cards so we could get inside. Made it inside. We're so excited. It's Halloween night. We have been here to a lot of Halloween parties, but we have some characters that we still have not taken pictures with. So that was our goal tonight. We wanted to get pictures with those characters to finish all of them. Our first stop was Alice and the Mad Hatter. We did stop and take pictures with them. They were so much fun. The Mad Hatter was hilarious and made us laugh so much during these pictures. We really enjoy getting pictures with them, but we have somewhere else we need to go, and Robert's very excited about this one.
We were heading over to Storybook Circus to see Goofy. We have seen Minnie and Donald and Daisy who are over in Storybook Circus, but we haven't seen Goofy yet, and I've got to go see him. He's my favorite character. So we got over there and got in line for him. Thankfully, the line was very short tonight for whatever reason. So I got to see Goofy and take lots of pictures with him in his pirate costume. I also got several pictures with him by myself, and apparently since he was my favorite character, he wanted to get a lot of pictures with me where he's hugging me and stuff. It was just a lot of fun, and after we finally finished taking pictures with him, we headed off to the next character stop. This one was a little more difficult because we needed to get a picture with Aladdin and Abu, but the problem is Jasmine and Genie also meet in the same place, and about every 30 minutes they rotate out. So if you get in line for one, you may not actually have them there by the time you get to the front of the line. So we had to wait until we had the right timing with the length of the line and the people that were there. We got in line. It was still Jasmine and Genie, but we found out from the character attendant that they would be leaving pretty soon and Aladdin might be coming out. So we got in line, waited, and just before we got up there, they did swap out and Aladdin and Abu were there. So we got our pictures with them and got to talk to them for a minute.
While we were in line to see Aladdin and Abu, we did hear the fireworks go off. The show was happening, which means we're probably going to time it perfectly to where we're leaving with the crowd, and sure enough, that is exactly what happened. It seemed like the whole park was leaving right when we were. We would normally stay behind and do some things and let the crowd go, but because we got up so incredibly early this morning and we've been running around all day, we were exhausted and we just wanted to get back to the resort. So that's exactly what we did. We fought our way through the crowd, headed to the boat, and took the boat over to Wilderness Lodge, and that was the end of our day today. So we'll see you tomorrow
for our Year with the Ears.